Hey everyone, Stacks here. Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today I'm checking out Revenge of the Cosmic Ghost Rider. This is number 1 in a 5-part series, and it's being written by Dennis Hopeless Hallum. Your artist is Scott Hepburn. What I like about this one is there's a second story in it, basically by Donny Cates, written or drawn by Geoff Shaw. That's really good. And that second story that's on this basically serves as an epilogue to the what was it called? The Cosmic Ghost Rider Destroys Marvel History that was released earlier this year. If you haven't checked out that video or the videos I did for Cosmic Ghost Rider Destroys Marvel History, you can go check those out. I'll try to leave the link here, and I'll leave it down in the description below. Anyways, guys, make sure you stick around and check out both stories, because that's really what I want to talk about at the end of this. So the first story that's being told here starts at a Shi'ar Supermax intergalactic prison, and you get the backstory that you can't break into this facility no matter how hard you try. This place is designed to keep out or to withstand intergalactic gods and monsters and all kinds of other giant, purple monsters that eat worlds. So Frank's got an idea on how to get in there, and basically he goes around and he just wages war on the Galactic Senate. He basically takes a flamethrower to there. He just goes and starts offing a bunch of war criminals and basically doing some old school Punisher stuff. And then finally he's run down by the Guardian, and the Guardian's like, look, tell me why. What are you doing? And Frank just makes the comment, because war crimes tend to go unpunished when your side wins. So even the guards are confused when this human shows up, though, because let's admit it, as far as being soft little itty bitty creatures, humans on the intergalactic scale are pretty low on the totem pole. Well, Frank immediately goes in, gets locked down, and starts making friends, because that's what he does. Nope, the biggest guy there walks up, says, hey, were you the guy that offed so-and-so's Blackwater crew? And he's like, yeah, could be. I take out a lot of trash. And then he gets grabbed by the neck and snapped in half and just tossed aside like a rag doll. So this dude's walking away, the not the thing guy, and Frank starts talking to him, says, your sister, huh? I hear you. This makes this kind of a family obligation, a vengeance sort of thing. And then next thing you know, Frank, with his bones still all looking all jelly-like, is all over this guy, kicking him in the head, telling him, I know a thing or two about vengeance myself. And with that, he lights up the skull, and this dude's eyes bug out of his head. And he tells him, look, what are you? What am I? I'm well, how much time you got? And he just starts swinging the chains, man. And it's at this point that Hopeless, the writer, takes the chance to do the mandatory rundown in a number 1 of the character's backstory, talking about how once upon a time he was a grieving husband and father. He went crazy from mourning them, killed a bunch of people, tried to wash the whole city in the blood of the guilty, and then one day he met the devil. And then he was granted, basically Spirit of Vengeance status. And then one time Galactus showed up, and then bada bing. Now it's at this point when Frank Castle is distributing justice or punishment or whatever you want to call it to all these cats, that he pierces something called the veil, and the guards make reference to it. He pierced the veil, and then they freak out immediately. Now they're basically saying, look, we're already dead, and Frank Castle is seeing this multi-armed purple tentacle thing, and it comes at him, and he says, doing the Punisher, or doing the Ghost Rider thing, saying, let's take a look at you. Let's take a look at that soul. And he looks at him, and he just says, well, that's that. And it's about that time that one of the guard reaches out, hits the self-destruct button, and detonates the entire base. Then we time travel to months later, where a scavenger crew is coming through, and one of the guys just happens to pick up the floating skull that's out there just wandering around. I mean, little human skull floating around in space, make a nice little trophy out of it. We're also introduced to this other human named Cammy, who's on this scavenger crew, and she's a smart aleck and is tough because she elbowed the guy named C-Dub in the face, and then he was going to stab her, but the captain bailed her out. Well, after all that silliness is done, this cat C-Dub is talking into the skull, talking about basically what he's going to do with the captain as far as killing him, killing Cammy, and talking about how he's done this all, and he's done it before. And as he does that, the skull lights up, and guess who's back? Now, Cammy is totally distracted because she has headphones on, but while she's distracted, Frank Castle is doing work on the entire crew, just raining terror on these guys. And one at a time, he's going through, he's absorbing their souls, he says, in order to recover himself, recover his legs, until it finally gets down to where Cammy is going to visit the captain. Quickly realizes she's dead, and turns around and sees the Cosmic Ghost Rider standing there. She opens fire and takes off. And Frank actually says, hey, that's some nice shooting, kid, but there's one problem. My guns are bigger. And he just blows the whole place apart. Now, she keeps trying to fight, keeps trying to get away, but eventually he gets the chains around her, brings her in, and gives her the penance stare. And when he does, you get a callback to a bunch of previous things that we've seen from this character, including her time with Drax the Destroyer, time in Murder World when Arcade kidnapped some humans and made them fight in one of his games. But Frank comes away from this and says, "You're an innocent," and she's like, "What?" She's like, "I don't punish the innocent." She's like, "I'm not innocent." She's like, "Yeah, you're tough or whatever, but you help and you hold horrible company, but you have a moral compass, and that's you do the right thing." And she comes away from this with, "I do not." And he's like, "Look, I don't have time. I got bigger fish to fry. I don't have time to deal with some broken Earth." And then she jumps in with some broken. "Oh, you're gonna find out about broken. Do you have any idea who those pirates were working for?" Cosmic King. That's who. Nastiest thing out here since Thanos. Runs syndicates in 20 systems. Probably more. You either work for him or you burn for him. And after what you did to his ship and his cargo, he's going for me and you right after. So buckle up, Buttercup. This is going to be a whole new kind of ride. Well, apparently this Cosmic King or whatever is in on the comms here, because he earlier said careful to her, and now he's telling the computer to open a portal to Hotel Inferno, where he drops in on Mephisto. He strolls through the door and quickly informs Mephisto that he has a need, and Mephisto says, kindly, "What can I do for you?" And this guy replies, "Frank Castle's mortal soul." And Mephisto just starts laughing and asks him, "What could you possibly want with that?" From there, we jump to what I think is the much more interesting part of this book, and it's Frank Castle back in New York, and he's visiting the grave of his dead wife. And here's Frank's talking. He just says, "I'm done. I ripped time apart trying to kill Thanos, and I failed. And then I fell into being a guardian of the galaxy and end up sent to hell again. All in all, it's not been a great few 100 million years, but it's over now. I just gotta say goodbye to someone before I leave this rock forever. Hey there, how are you, beautiful?" Just talking to the headstone. And before it gets any worse, and then you get over his shoulder, "Hey, Frank." And he just swears right off the bat. And when he turns around, of course, it's Frank Castle. And just to preface, if you didn't read Cosmic Ghost Rider Destroys Marvel History, this isn't going to make a lot of sense. But he looks back on him and says, "So you know who I am then, huh? That's okay." And Frank says, "Look, you've been running around telling the Avengers, spouting off about how you're a future version of me. You didn't think I was going to hear about that?" And the Cosmic Ghost Rider tells him, "No, I figured you would. It's just you're acting pretty calm about all of it." And Frank tells him, "I was a Frankenstein once. I'm pretty open-minded about that kind of thing." And they both get kind of a chuckle out of it. He's like, "Yeah, I forgot about that." And Cosmic Ghost Rider starts walking towards him saying, "You know what? People say that I'm basically a dumb version of you, but then and then Frank Castle just opens fire on him. And it actually catches the Cosmic Ghost Rider, off guard, and he's like, "Oh, what the heck, Frank? That actually hurts." And Frank tells him they're consecrated Hellfire rounds. You ain't my first Ghost Rider. But CGR real quick bucks up and says, "You only heard half the story then." And he hits Frank with a healthy dose of the power cosmic. And Frank tells him, "Look, you only survived that because I wanted you to. I'm a former Herald of Galactus, Frank. You're out of your league. Now, you want to tell me why you're trying to kill me? Are we going to keep up the..." And right at that point, Frank buries a knife through his hand. And the Cosmic Ghost Rider backs up saying, "Oh, what the heck, dude?" And Frank's explaining vibranium and adamantium tend to do the trick. You're not invincible. You've just never fought anyone who could fight. And Cosmic Ghost Rider tells him, "Stand down, Frank. I promise you don't want this. Just talk to me about what is this about?" And Frank just screaming, reaching, diving, trying to cut him, says, "You know what this is about." And Cosmic Ghost Rider grabs him and says, "I kinda don't," and throws him right into the trunk of a tree. Cosmic Ghost Rider's walking up to him, telling him, "Frank, stay down." And of course Frank Castle gets up and he just tells him, "This is all your fault." Pulls the pin on a grenade. Cosmic Ghost Rider grabs it. It still blows everything all to heck. And granted, that should have killed Frank Castle, but things don't work that way in Marvel. So they're just laying there beside each other in the blast radius, and he's like, you really are a jerk, Frank." And Frank Castle just rolls over and says, "Get up." And Cosmic Ghost Rider's like, What are you talking about?" And he lunges at him again, and he's finally had enough. He catches him midair and just hits him with just flames up. And he catches him by the throat and tells me, "What is your problem? Tell me." And he's just holding him there right by the throat. He looks at him and says, "You went back in time. Could have changed anything. Why didn't you save them?" And you could see the pain in old Frank's eyes, Cosmic Ghost Rider's eyes. And he just drops him and walks away and says, "No." And Frank says, as he's walking away, "No, you don't walk away from me. Answer me. Why didn't you save our family?" And with that same look in his eye, he flames the skull back up and says, "Because we deserve to be punished too." And Frank loses it. He says, Don't you ever come back here. You hear me? You come back here and you're dead." And Frank just is saying, "Don't worry. I'm done." And that's it. And that was such a good epilogue to the end of Marvel Cosmic Ghost Rider Destroys Marvel History. It really was that point in that series when Frank found out that he couldn't save his family, because that point had become a linchpin for all of existence, and it just destroyed him to have to let that happen, and for the Watcher to have to be the one to tell him and hold him to that. But anyways, guys, I'm a fan of the Cosmic Ghost Rider, of the character. It's one of the characters that really grabbed my attention when I was first getting back into comics during the Thanos storyline, the Thanos Wins storyline by Donny Cates. So I've kind of followed him the whole way through, and I really liked the epilogue there to the last story, but I'm not incredibly fired up about this one, even though the idea of this, whatever his name was, I don't even remember, Cosmic King, the idea of this Cosmic King going to Mephisto and saying that he wants Frank's mortal soul, that's pretty interesting. It's going to be interesting to see how this all plays out. How is Frank going to be manipulated by that, and just, I don't know, we'll see what happens. Mandatory comment about making sure you comment, make sure you leave a like, and make sure if you are not, you are subscribed, and you hit that bell for notifications so that you can get in on as soon as these videos are dropped. Anyways, guys, this is my final video for 2019. I want to say thank you to everyone who's subscribed. Especially those folks that are constantly in the comments, that are constantly leaving likes. And guys, I really appreciate you guys and how you've helped this channel, how you've helped spread the word about the channel, guys. You made 2019 an incredibly successful year for me. Jumped from less than 200 subscribers to nearly 3,000 subscribers, and hope to continue growing into 2020, guys. Sincerely appreciate you. I hope you have a blessed 2020, and hope that you're here with me for the ride, guys. I appreciate it. That's all I got for this evening. Real Comic Stacks out.